couple housekeeping notes just off the top. I almost forgot to hit the go live button again. That happened once earlier this offseason, but it's because we have the 3-box screen back. We have Gov back. I was so mesmerized and so happy to have you back, man. I literally almost forgot to hit the go live stream. But we are back. Donnie's internet's holding up, which has been in and out, but he looks like he's on screen today, so it doesn't look like he'll have to go mobile. We're actually back in full force. And to commemorate Gov being back, we're going to just give him the first pick tonight. I think me and Donnie are still going to do the pick generator.
Yep.
But Gov, you picked the perfect time to take a respite from the UFL, because not only is this like a niche sport, right? And we're deep diving. You have to be a hardcore. You have to really love the sport. We were dealing with backups and secondary guys, and some starters playing half of a game and getting limited snaps. It was a pain to sort through the depth charts. So you didn't miss anything. It was like pulling teeth, I swear. So we should see the best teams against the best team. I truly think we're going to see some of the best spring football we've ever seen before. I truly think this will be the crowning achievement for the UFL, and they probably need it. They've talked about some of their numbers dipping, with some of the stadiums. They talk about expansion. I do think they need a good playoffs. I think we're going to get one. Any overarching thoughts you want to have on the season, Donnie?
I mean, I'm excited for the playoffs again. We got a rematch in the USFL side, a new team for the XFL side of it.
Mm-hmm.
But St. Louis would be home if they advance for the championship game, which they'll pack up that stadium, which would be nice.
Yeah,
but
I do think the attendance for some of these stadiums has been really nice, and I think it gets overblown by some of the stadiums falling short. But I think this has been a success. If you looked at spring football from a totality, this has been their best season.
Well, they would not file all the trademarks that they filed for expansion teams and relocation if they weren't making profit or close enough to it.
I mean, we saw it last year. Bates went to the NFL, played for the Lions, was a playoff impact player for them. We saw players, get tryouts. And I talked to Donnie at the end of the show last week. People don't realize that the talent gap in the NFL, if you make it to the NFL, even on a practice squad level, you are a premium athlete. So, and we're seeing more and more of that. I think the league's in a great spot. I do think we need some expansion, though, because I mentioned it when Gov was gone. Those couple of weeks, some teams had locked up the playoffs. Some teams were just not playing for much. A wild card spot, some deeper divisions, some divisional races would be very valuable later in the year.
I'd like to see two more teams in the league. So it's a 10-team league and then maybe a 3-team playoffs. One seed gets a bye just to make it matter a bit more. But
the biggest thing is do they have the players coming up that will be able to be in the league to constitute adding a few more teams?
Mm-hmm.
But they've done everything they needed. Like you said, there have been players that have gone up into the NFL, so it's clear you can get your second chance here.
Mm-hmm.
There's young guys who are being able to round into form. All of this looks good.
I think they do, because I think at this point they've established a brand and they bought into that development, where if they bring in a guy, we're almost conditioned. And I know we're the hardcores, but we're conditioned to say we'll give this guy a chance. You're not bringing a Chad Ochocinco or a Terrell Owens for a name, or a Johnny Manziel. You're not just striping up that name value guy, because that wouldn't work. That would just be a disaster. It would be a joke.
No, they're not doing any of that. They're doing all the right stuff, and it seems to be working. I think this league does have a future.
I think this season for the UFL was such a make or break year where so many coaches left in the middle of the season. It felt like you could either roll over and die and it be bad football for a season, or it's going to be a really good watch. And it still was a good watch with all the controversy around it. But he had 3 coaches resign in the middle of the season.
Yeah. Which is really bizarre. Because it was Ken Whisenhunt was there. Then he came back. He recommitted to Memphis, but then he was gone again. Like Wade Phillips left, but then a week later, I'm not kidding, this is an actual story. A week later, he was like in a Texas bar dancing like the hoedown. Like, so it was just weird, man. Like, but here we are. Like I said, I think we got some good teams. You know, I think like not even good teams, but like good players. Like Perkins will get an NFL spot. I'm pretty sure he'll make an active roster. That would be I guess a bold prediction, if you will. But like, I truly think we're looking at NFL talent here. So I'm excited for this. Being a 2-game slate, though, is there any, like I was listening to a podcast today and they were just talking about from a DFS like strategy perspective. And I know you're a fan of this, Gov, so this would be a good way to reintroduce you to the UFL. Like from a strategy perspective, they were talking about the advantage of overstacking, especially in DFS. It's always been a very attractive option for these 2-game slates. And given the UFL and how much people might not know depth charts, would you be more inclined to stack like a DC because you know they pass so much, for example? I think they pass like at 62% of the time. So you could stack, you know, Taimu and a wide receiver.
Yeah, I could see doing that. 2-game slate, like if I'm gonna just use normal NFL rules, which I might, like, yeah, I'm gonna try to figure out the game that I can overstack. So I'm not really worried about pass heavy or run heavy as much as game environment.
Yeah.
So like, is DC St. Louis the better game environment game?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like maybe we should just focus on like the shootout game. Like you basically
right. We'll still like some telling me like this is a week to play Sailors, but I don't know why.
I like Sailors too because I feel like he is still a very talented wide running back, and I feel like
he's had spike weeks. He had one just recently. He had them all at the beginning of the season. Like,
and he's rested.
Yeah, I would say he's rested, and this is an important game. So like, and he's under 10K, so like, it's not unfeasible.
That's exactly it. He's been inconsistent, but those things at this point, I feel
price
like
is down a bit because of the inconsistency.
Yeah, exactly. His price is down, and he's rested. To Donnie's point, like you can reframe all of his negatives as a positive. And I know that's like a bias, but I'm telling you, I'm buying into that.
Well, there's a bias because of the negatives. You're trying to make negatives because he's the $9,000 running back.
Yeah, and I think
I'm tempted to just say he's the first pick in.
Okay,
I'm okay with that.
Before Gov officially makes his pick, Logan, what's your number? I'm going with number 81.
Paige Becker's number 5.
All right. Complete opposite ends. It's going to be 67.
Oh,
that's going to be closer to Donnie.
Yep.
All right, but Donnie, you've been following the UFL pretty closely like I have. We've been doing this 2-man show. I have one question for you actually about this. Because we saw last week in these weeks where they were resting, you know, players and we were getting depth charts and just like backups were playing more. Do you think someone like a DFS player is going to make a mistake and just like a guy will be high owned when he should be? Because we saw it a lot last week. I mean, like Max Duggan, I think, a week ago didn't play a single snap for the Battlehawks, and he was like 11% owned a couple weeks.
There's going to be someone to play like a stupid wide receiver who shouldn't be being played or a backup running back that was getting carries. Someone's going to do it.
I know it happened a lot because of the backup situation and just like rest, and some people didn't dive into depth charts. But on a 2-game slate, those kind of mistakes, like if I had to give you guys any advice, I know we have some viewers watching live, just do the modicum amount of research and don't have any zeros in your lineup. I say it almost every week. It sounds like I'm a broken record, but it is the most valuable thing I can give. Is just make sure you do a little bit of research, not to put a zero in your lineup.
In a week like this, it's the playoffs. The best players are going to get the ball. Don't be afraid to play the obvious. Sometimes a play is just so obvious you have to play it.
Which is a good bring back, Donnie, to what we just talked about. Sailors is super talented. His price is, a bit in a drought, a bit dehydrated. I think Gov mentioned it. Sailors is the pick, right?
Yep, that's going to be my first pick. It's back to the beginning of the season. Like now that we're at the end of it, and the games matter a little more.
Yeah.
Got to make that decision first off. Like, are you playing him or are you not?
And let's play a little game because I do think this is interesting. If he was consistent, I honestly think he wouldn't be any lower than 11,000.
If he was consistent, I don't think he would be any lower than backup running back on one of the 32 NFL teams.
Yeah, well, maybe you're right, but I'm saying like he would have that Scotty Scheffler price difference where it's like, oh, he's $3,000 more than anyone else.
Oh yeah, and he'd been 11K earlier this year.
Right. He's already gotten that Christian McCaffrey respect before, so I think this is a great price. I actually thought he was more. I'm not gonna lie. Don, you have a place you want to go? No quarterback, obviously.
I know exactly where I want to go. Somebody who's been on fire for the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Deion Kane.
Oh,
nice one.
The Stallions offense looks so good with J'Mar Smith. Kane has been on fire. He looks like one of the best receivers in the league. I mean, he gets great targets all the time, quality targets.
You know what I like about Kane so much is he's productive with very little targets. Like sometimes he does get targets. You're not wrong, but
they're good ones all the time.
Yeah, he makes the most of his catches. Like if you looked at his averages, they are very nice, and he's done it all season. He's basically been what I thought Kirkland was going to be for the Brahmas this season. Like I do think he's got a job. Obviously, he was a former Colt, I believe. I do think he'll get a chance in the NFL.
He's just hit a second level with Smith.
Yeah. So I thought you would go with another wide receiver. I'm just going to play him because I think he might be leading the league in receptions this year. He's been super productive. We know him because we're hardcores, but I don't think he's been getting enough credit. I want Mariner, man.
I love that as well.
He's
top 5 in receptions. I don't know what he finished as.
Well, because they were resting him, they kind of gave him that Sailors treatment where they're like, oh, we're in the playoffs. Perkins already was injured. We're just going to play this conservative, make sure our guys get there. We already lost our quarterback. Let's not ruin that good chemistry thing. We mentioned it with Kane having good chemistry. I think Mariner has a chance to just have a blow-up week. And I honestly think he should be $1,000 more. I don't get the prices.
I don't understand why he's so cheap. I feel the same with Kane.
Yeah.
All right, Logan, I guess we're snaking, so you got another pick here?
All right. So I'm going to do something that you guys don't like to do. I'm going to leave quarterback, though. I'm going to take the DC Defenders against the Battlehawks. I think they're the most aggressive defense. They're the most likely to blitz. So they might get beat bad and give up big plays, but that also leads to, I think, a lot of fantasy points. If it works out, they're going to get home. They're going to get those sacks. I think it's the big boomer bust play on defense.
I think they lead the league in touchdowns as well, defensively.
Yeah, like they either make big plays or they get demolished because they blitz a lot.
That's the defense I've been playing too. I love this defense this week.
Max Duggan is also
defense too. Like I can deal with that.
Yeah. Well, Max Duggan is probably the most inconsistent passer in the league. He has a very Tim Tebow-like game. Like he will rush like probably 10 or 11 times in this game, and he will sacrifice his body. So it could be explosive and fun, but he's not the most accurate. So I like the potential for an interception here.
Next play, not a super cheap play, but a guy on the lower end. He started to heat up a bit as well in the end of the season at receiver. Give me Pearson. A big body guy. We liked him early on.
Mm-hmm.
And they really started to heat him up in that last game. It didn't matter, but that game against San Antonio week 9, they really tried to feed him and get him in the offense. He's been playing well.
Well, the thing is when Silvers got in the game, that's where he got the 9 targets in this week. When Silvers came in, the more traditional passer, he really took off. I like this play. I think everyone will just – if anyone plays a wide receiver from the Battlehawks, I think they'll either pay down to Jennings or one of those guys, or they'll pay up to Butler. I think – I have no problem with this play. How are we going to be able to afford it, though? We got to start thinking now about that.
It's my picks, and I just sort of like fit
Logan put him in.
You put in Jakor. I fit something in, and I got some money left, so you guys can discuss.
All right. What do you got?
With what we have at defense in that, I think we're just going to finish it off with our stack, and we're going to go with Bama. Or Birmingham. So give me Smith at quarterback.
Jamar Smith. See, I wouldn't have went there, but he's been super consistent recently.
And then give me K. Johnson from Birmingham, too. Looks like he's solid last couple of weeks, so that's probably one of Jamar's guys.
C. Johnson?
Yeah, C. Johnson.
Okay. I also
that leaves us with $700 left over.
I don't mind it. I would. My instincts would have been to go with Sternberger.
I would have went Sternberger as well.
If you guys want to switch it to Sternberger, that's fine. Do we have the money with the $700?
We
do.
We just do.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine with me. Like, you guys can discuss where we're at.
So Sternberger is risky because he's probably going to play more snaps, but he might not do very much with him.
Right. Whereas I was looking at Cade and his consistency, like 11, 11, 11. Like, he's had some down weeks, but he's also been just consistently solid.
And I know Donnie's liked him, but Donnie, you also played him in the week where he played his worst this season.
And we'll already have Kane to go with him. So this is really our secondary guy. Who's the secondary guy that's going to be consistent with him?
See,
that's
my
why
thing
I was
is
going Johnson.
See, I know Sternberger is really not sometimes the guy. Sometimes Thomas comes in and he just steals a touchdown. But Thomas has been, not playing that much at the tight end spot.
Yeah.
I don't like Johnson that much. I don't think he's been like the points are there, yes, but I think Johnson's had the touchdowns and it's been.
Mm-hmm.
I'm perfectly fine switching off him. Like you said, like we have 700, so that's up to 5,300 at flex. Where else would you guys go? Because we technically still have our stack with Kane,
right,
and a game stack with Mariner.
See, so I think right now the
mistake going somewhere else.
The mistake we've made in this lineup right now is we have nothing DC.
Other than the defense.
Other than the defense.
Like, that's the real problem, is we have a defense versus two St. Louis guys. So maybe we should try to go up at defense and see where we're at left for our last guy. Like, as much as the DC defense is good, if we're going to do the DC defense, we probably can't do both Sailors and Pearson.
I see what you mean.
Like, we could do one, and they could still have a volume and good day, and the defense could still be solid.
The best we could do is go to the Stallions defense, because we can't play Michigan's defense either if we're stacking the quarterback.
Rule of Jameis would say otherwise, but like I agree. I agree.
And that still gets a Sternberger. Or Williams, if you wanted to go Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems a little better to me.
I get your point with playing the two.
Then we do have a full-on game stack. Like that's a unique way to go.
Yeah.
I like that.
Are we going Williams or technically it would be my pick. I would lean Sternberger.
Okay, yeah, I don't care which one we go with because I think they have.
Yep, I don't. I'll let you guys have the last in. I just wanted to get that stack in there and see where you guys were at. Is there another stack with that money that you guys would use?
I would pay for Perkins personally. He's my favorite quarterback this week.
Like if all you did was change Sternberger and Smith to another quarterback, and
could we get to somewhere else? I mean,
you could even go down to DC and get an extra couple hundred if you need.
Yeah, let me do that just for a thought exercise because that's what this is, anyways. I want you guys to build your own lineups with your own decisions.
46. That gets you to Johnson of Birmingham.
And we have seen Amari Rodgers, if you wanted just to throw a dart like on a guy that might, like he hasn't done much consistency wise for the whole season, but like he has that pedigree, and maybe he spikes in the playoffs and kind of has that like almost like that NBA role where it's like, oh yeah, he waited till the prime time of the season and just spiked.
You could go Johnson from Birmingham, and that works as well. But then you have 2 receiving options from Birmingham and no quarterback.
You're still game stacking that game. Like
you are still game stacking the game, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Perkins.
But like again, at that point, I would kind of want to have Smith. So like, I can see that. Like, good. This is a good thought exercise. It's like you could do Perkins and still have a stack, but that leaves you in the same spot where you're probably still double stacking Birmingham.
Now, Donnie, I know you got the shirt of the Stallions. Like you went to that stadium, but you're not biased. So like, where are you leaning here? Because I haven't thought about.
I'm playing Perkins in personals. That's where I'm at in personal. He has too much rushing upside. But I've been playing the same way all year. I have the stack between the Michigan. I bring Perkins and I bring their running back Toa Toa.
I think yes, but you would say Perkins has a higher likelihood to score like, I don't know, 10 more points per se? Because like he has more.
I don't know if I think like maybe Perkins scores 25 and Smith scores 18. Like I don't think it's a super huge gap, but I think there's a gap.
Because that's what I'm saying is like, okay, is that gap big enough to justify the risk at wide receiver? So I think Sternberger plays more, but I don't know if he does anything. Like because of the tight end position and because he's on the field more, he's going to be out there, but he might be blocking. He might be a decoy for Thomas, who gets the red zone touch. Or that one week you played him, Donnie, he literally dropped a touchdown, and that was like his only big play of the game, and then he dropped it and didn't see a single catch up afterward.
But I also played him on one of his best weeks as well.
Yeah.
The problem with Sternberger is he has Thomas, who's 6'7". Like he's gonna come in and be the red zone target and as that tight end spot.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with both lineups. I like stacking this Michigan-Birmingham game. I think there's a lot on the line. Both these teams are going to come out with everything. There's like real disdain towards each other. I think it's mutual respect in a healthy way, but there's disdain of how they feel about each other. Michigan really has a chip on their shoulder over this.
Is there anyone else that we're forgetting, though, from a wide receiver standpoint that we should consider?
I mean, we didn't talk anything about DC's wide receiver group. And
I would want Williams because he just looks like he's a big body receiver, but he's too expensive for this range.
I know. I'm just, in general, if I'm talking DC guys, I'm thinking Rowland, I'm thinking Powell. Those are the only 2 I'd really like to play if we had the money, which we don't.
Yeah. I think Sanders is way overpriced. I know that offense has been explosive, but to have him higher than DeMar is crazy to me.
Yeah. So, final decision. Is it Smith or
I don't want to make it, man. That's why I was quiet. Like, I didn't mean to go dead air, but
Gov picked the quarterback initially. It's up to him. Smith or Perkins?
Go Smith.
All right.
Okay.
We got to hand over the keys. He's been gone for a couple weeks.
I do think we get the lower owned guy. So we kind of mentioned it.
Right, so you're at 53. Like again, where do you guys want to go at wide receiver or at flex with this?
See, I still lean towards either. I wouldn't be mad at Williams. What's Williams' stuff been looking like?
I think he's like their boom or bust guy. Like he's their deep threat guy. Yeah, his averages, if you just look at him.
He hasn't had a touchdown all season, really. I mean, that's not great.
So he's not getting a ton of volume. He's only got 17 receptions, but he does average almost 30 yards.
Yeah, I just wonder. I think I'd rather take the risk on Sternberger. He has a higher touchdown upside.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at, too, because we know he should be on the field. Like, we're talking about that. I talked about it.
Listen, if we wanted to get absolutely crazy and say, let's play Thomas and hope he gets a random touchdown, I wouldn't be against that either. It's not crazy because he plays. He's 6'7" and he plays. And we've seen him play against Michigan and have good workload against them.
Yeah, but at that point, I think I'd want to change the lineup.
You'd change the lineup a lot more, yes.
Yeah. I'm okay with
Thomas
this.
is 3,200, but he averages a catch a game.
Do you think that's like the cheap guy where everyone's going to try to get too cute?
I think that's like if you were going to throw a dart at anyone, he's the dart to throw. I'm not throwing that dart, though.
Mm-hmm. Smith has been super efficient, like with his touches. He was out of the league in like week 1, week 2, and he's been dominant.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's risk of him being benched. I don't buy any of that. I think those are the type of rumors that could ruin a lineup when you start reading into too much of the rumor mill.
If you've watched the Stallions play all year long, you would know Jamar Smith gives them the best chance to win. It is the most explosive this offense has been in over a year.
Yeah, you're not wrong. So I do have to mention it because every time I mention it, we gain a subscriber. It does do numbers. I don't want to keep being that guy from a promotional standpoint, but it does work. If you guys could like and subscribe on your way out, even if you listen for 5 seconds, it really does matter. It gets it out to someone who, I hear from people on Twitter on a weekly basis how we help them out. One guy loves that we just like goof around. And we even talked a lot of MMA when Gov was gone. We haven't talked about any basketball, so people like that. When we talk about basketball for 5 minutes one time,
there's nothing to talk about. You've got the Halley Goat just out here smacking people around. He's going to show up at WrestleMania with the goddamn MVP trophy.
See, but I'm here for all that kind of fun. Just like I want to enjoy the moment, and so many people want to like sensationalize everything in sports these days. It drives me nuts. Like if the Oklahoma City Thunder lose, and people want to like overreact and act like
I was wondering why they didn't just go with their normal rotation. Like they switched up their starting lineup right before the game.
That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like, it just seems like people are galaxy braining everything in sports now.
Yeah, like I get it. Like he's played with he's basically played with a 10 to 11 man rotation for a year and a half, and just now he thinks he's 11 guys deep and can do a bunch of stuff. And like,
but now the narrative.
But then again, to be fair, Indy just sort of crept back. They were down 10 to 12, 15 most of that game.
But Donnie, myself, and you both watch a ton of basketball. This is what the Pacers have done all season. Like, they are the comeback kids. Like, they are not the most talented team. The Oklahoma City Thunder should still be favored to win this series. But they did what they've done all season. They mount comebacks. They have the best coach in this series. Rick Carlisle is very underrated as a coach. But I would still favor Oklahoma City Thunder. But like I say, everyone sensationalized everything in sports now. And now all the talking heads want to be like, well, this series is magical. And it's like, no, this series was always going to be good. I truly thought this matchup was a good matchup. I just don't think it's a marquee team, so I don't think people know what to do with it.
Number one offense versus number one defense. If it was any team besides Indy and OKC, it would be talked about like crazy. But,
Like, literally on one of the preview shows, Donnie, they spent 5 minutes on what the aerial shot was going to be for Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, they were like so aghast that it wasn't like a New York team or a Los Angeles team or a Boston. It's like, no, just enjoy the good basketball. It's okay. But like, I don't know, maybe I'm different because like I'll watch the spring football league. Like if you put a good football product in front of me, I'll watch it. I don't need the Dallas Cowboys, helmets. But some people, I guess, buy into that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just priced out of the market that way. Is there any other big stands we want to take? I know people have been. We usually do a player profile kind of best ball ranking show. We'll probably do that soon. I don't know if we'll do as much best ball, but I do want to like dive in and do more best ball discussions. I don't know how many contests we'll commit to yet. But we did win some money this last off season with best ball, so we'll be investing some money again.
I saw my favorite training camp video all season.
Yeah,
Ben Johnson had all the offensive linemen running routes.
Yeah, like that's what he does. He truly does that stuff. Like he has fun with it, and I'm not surprised. He had Caleb Williams running wide receiver.
mean, listen, I love a good silly training camp video. You know.
Oh, we'll be talking NFL here soon. I'm sure we'll all here about to do a first look at the season.
Yeah, as soon as basketball season ends, we'll probably be.
We're in the finals, basketball and hockey. Like they're both gonna end about the same time, and then it's just gonna be baseball.
Hockey.
At once.
I think I'd rather watch hockey.
Hockey's actually, isn't Game 2 going on right now?
Game 2 is tonight. Yes.
Tonight, as in live.
Or did it just finish? Hold on, let me check. I'm gonna check the score.
If we were Canadians, would we watch hockey? That's the question.
I don't know about that, eh?
Yeah. This show's deteriorating.
Oh shit, we are in overtime. 4-4.
Yeah, couldn't you tell? I told you we were excited. Can't you tell? Like, oh, blood pumping. Or maybe your blood doesn't pump when you're. Is our blood frozen? I don't know. That's all I got for tonight. Good night, guys. See you.
Not everyone.
Peace out, everybody.